63-year-old Norris Lyles is behind bars after allegedly fatally beating his 55-year-old fiancee with a floor lamp. At 7:56 p.m. on Wednesday the 15th of March, authorities responded to a home on reports of a domestic disturbance on the 5000 block of Hornsby Drive in Memphis, Tennessee. When officers arrived outside, they heard yelling and screaming coming from both the backyard and inside the home. Officers knocked on the front door several times and could hear a woman yelling, "Help, he's got a gun, kick the door in." An officer attempted to kick the front door in, but saw a large dog through the window and stopped. Officers continued to knock and saw Norris through the window, walking up the hallway. Police say the victim continued screaming, "He has a gun." This was the last time officers reported hearing the victim. Officers continued to knock on the front door, and Norris yelled, "What?" before officers announced themselves at the front door. Eventually Norris opened the door wearing a white blood-stained t-shirt. When officers ordered him to get on the ground, Norris replied, "You get on the ground." Norris then reached for a gun in his waistband, and officers tased him. Norris was taken into custody and was transported to Regional 1 Health to treat non-life-threatening injuries. While searching the property, officers located a woman in the backyard laying on the ground, suffering from multiple lacerations to her head. They also found a floor lamp with a heavy base covered in blood at the scene. The woman, whose name remains anonymous, was transported to the hospital in a critical condition, where she succumbed to her injuries at 8:53 p.m. Norris is charged with second-degree murder and assault on a first responder. He's held at the Shelby County Jail on a $50,000 bond. Norris has an extensive criminal history, including an attempted murder charge from 1979. 23-year-old Xavier Daquan Hatcher is accused of fatally shooting McDonald's employee, 19-year-old Daquan Tavius Proctor in Augusta, Georgia early Sunday morning. At around 1:20 a.m. on the 19th of March, Richmond County deputies were called to Smith Drive on reports of a person shot. When deputies arrived, they found a young man identified as Daquan Tavius in a critical condition suffering from a gunshot wound. First responders tried performing life-saving measures on him. However, he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene at 2:30 a.m. During the investigation, authorities learned that the shooting happened about a mile away. Investigators said that Daquan Tavius was sitting in the car with a female in the McDonald's parking lot where he worked at 3132 Peach Orchard Road. Xavier shot at the vehicle Daquan Tavius was in, striking him. Xavier was captured on CCTV at the restaurant, as well as seen in a grey SUV. Later that day, Xavier was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, murder, possession of a firearm or a knife during a crime, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The motive behind the shooting is unclear. In 2017, Xavier was convicted for gang-related activities and is paroled in May of 2022. The investigation into the matter continues. An elderly Texas man was arrested last week for committing inappropriate acts with a girl. At just before midday on Tuesday the 14th of March, authorities responded to the Whataburger restaurant at 2727 New Boston Road in Texarkana, Texas, after receiving a call from employees stating that a juvenile girl and an older man were there eating together and something didn't seem right about the situation. Police said that their observation proved to be correct. The investigation revealed that the man, identified as 79-year-old Michael Clark, and the 13-year-old girl barely knew each other. The girl told officers that Michael offered her money in exchange for sexual favours earlier that day, and inappropriately touched her during a previous encounter just weeks prior. The girl told the officers that Michael had asked her for oral sex that day, but wanted her to brush her teeth first. She also reported that he would hurt her if he didn't see her naked that day. Police said that the girl was walking down the street when Michael picked her up in his truck and took her to Whataburger that morning. After investigating the situation further, detectives obtained a warrant for Michael and arrested him on Wednesday on charges of indecency with a child and solicitation of prostitution. He's currently being held at the Bi-State Detention Center on a $225,000 bond.